For those of you that love talking about animals, from Sci News, paleontologists find evidence of battle between two Triassic predators. The evidence comes from a team of U.S. scientists who found remnants of a prehistoric clash in a slab of rock at the Chile Formation in New Mexico. The battle, which occurred in the Triassic period about 210 million years ago, involved a semi aquatic crocodile like dinosaur called a phytosaur and a large reptile called a rausuchid, and ended with the tooth of the former embedded in the bone of the latter. And now, from prehistoric to present, my name is Ethan. Welcome to Creature Guide Live Prehistoric News. And hit that subscribe button so we can dive right back into the prehistoric news of the day. Okay, first, there's a problem here. It's calling a phytosaur a dinosaur. This animal belongs to a group of archosaurs, and the dinosaurs are also one of the largest branches, are the largest branch of the archosauromorph lineage of reptiles. And a phytosaur was a completely different branch. These animals also only existed for around 30 to 35 million years during the Triassic period. So these are also quite distant relatives of today's crocodilians. Also, every reptile in general, despite them looking quite similar to, per se, the garrels over in India, which are the long, thin snouted crocodilians. So now it is mentioning that there is a Rausuchid. So this is also another lineage of archosaurs that only occurred during the Triassic period. Let's take a look. Okay, so there's an embedded tooth. This has actually occurred in many instances. Different species of long necked sauropod dinosaur have been discovered with carnivorous theropod teeth embedded within their bones. Let's see. Also, what's probably occurring is that the predator had come to a point where it was about to shed its tooth, and just that minor amount of pressure ended up taking it off of its or snapping it from its jaw. Anyway, let's keep going. About 210 million years ago, when the supercontinent of Pangaea was starting to break up, phytosaurs and rausuchids were apex predators at the top of the food chain. This is very true. The dinosaurs, there were certain medium sized species, well, you could say large species for the Triassic, reaching over 17 feet in length and probably weighing around 12 to 1,400 pounds or a little over 600 kilograms. But the top predators of the Triassic period were different species of crocodilomorphs, different species of the phytosaurs or the Rausuchid lineage of pseudosuchians. So um, the predatory dinosaurs were like mid level when it came to the food chain at most. It was widely believed these two predators didn't interact much as phytosaurs were kings of the water and Rausuchids roamed the land. But those ideas are changing thanks largely to the contents of a single bone. Well, I would find this a bit of an odd theory to as to how to view these predators, because if you look at every ecosystem today where there is like a top semi-aquatic apex predator and then even a top terrestrial predator, and they will continuously come into conflict, especially now crocodiles and lions over in Tanzania. It's very common, or in some other instances over in Southeast Asia, and you have saltwater crocodiles and Bengal tigers come into contact with each other, but a little more often the mugger crocodiles, not so much saltwaters with the tigers. So um, I just think that's a bit of an odd theory for certain other paleontologists to put out there. To find a phytosaur tooth in the bone of Rausuchid is very surprising. I will say, though, this is nearly unheard of because when it comes to different species of large predatory reptile attacking each other outside of different more crocodile-like crocodilomorphs such as like later Cretaceous Sarcosuchus or Deinosuchus, or close relatives of them being embedded in certain dinosaurs. This instance is quite remarkable. So let's take a look at somebody else. So this is a species of proto-mammal that existed in the late Triassic of Poland around 200 and 20 million years ago. So this individual is called Lysowikie, which is one of the largest members of its kind. So it's also a member of the dinosaur Placerininae lineage of the
That's
Dicynodonts.
what I was getting ready to ask.
Yeah, so this is a close relative of the more famous Placerius genus from Arizona, which existed somewhere close to the same time. Now, the family of Placerinae first evolved at the very beginning of the Triassic period. This was around 251 million years ago. And they are pretty much found in different areas of North America, Europe, different parts of Africa, South Africa, Tanzania. They're known for different species of large Placerinae as well. This is also one of the largest species to exist. Lysowickiae could reach over 15 feet in length or pushing a little over 4.5 meters and probably weigh somewhere between 6 to 7 tons. So it dwarfed the Placerius. It could also reach a little over 8.5 feet in height or probably 2.5 meters. So this individual was quite a hard prey item to take down, not just for the dinosaurs, which the dinosaurs probably didn't touch at this point, but different species of the Pseudosuchian lineage of archosaurs, as well as even different semi-aquatic crocodilomorphs.
They pretty much just step on them.
Um, at this weight, for most of the archosaur predators that I am describing, yes, there were certain species though that could reach somewhere around 2 to 3 tons, but they didn't coexist with Lysoikiae. So, yes, this animal at full grown size could pretty much smush into a pancake whatever was in its way, except other Lysoikiae, which is probably was its main nemesis when competing over plants. Actually, it's itself was probably the most dangerous animal within the ecosystem because herbivores tend to be much more aggressive than the carnivores and will just kill other herbivores for the sake of it. So let's keep going. These rausuchids were the largest predators in their environments. You might expect them to be the top predators as well, but here we have the evidence of phytosaurs, who were smaller semi aquatic animals potentially targeting and eating these big carnivores. They weren't always smaller. There were only a handful of rausuchids that could reach a very large size, dwarfing any members of the Phytosaur lineage, such as Smilasuchus, um, which also existed over in Arizona around 217 million years ago. Well, well, well. When it comes to the depiction, this is quite something. So this is definitely a depicting a species of Rausuchid around the same size as a Phytosaur, which is a large species, or if we're referring to the larger species of Phytosaur. And no, despite it looking similar to a crocodile, or some might say even maybe a younger Sarcosuchus from the early Cretaceous of Africa, this is not a close relative of either. So let's see. Yeah, it doesn't even give the mention of what this Rausuchid might be. I wonder if it was just the hip bones of the individual that were discovered, as well as the teeth of the phytosaur. Let's keep going. Dr. Drumheller and her colleagues studied the bone of Rausuchid and the phytosaur tooth using their 3D printed copies and CT scans. This, along with an analysis of bite marks, revealed that the animal was preyed upon at least twice over the course of its life by phytosaurs. Wow. So this individual had a life a bit like a cat, to an extent. That's interesting.
Maybe just like to fight phytosaurs.
Yeah, I mean, this is quite remarkable. I mean, this has probably happened with actually quite a large number of animals, and not just today. With you know, even black bears over in Florida have to be wary of alligators, but probably more of the Florida panther or cougars, and then definitely zebras, wildebeest, younger elephants over in Africa, or even Asia. Saltwater crocodiles will go after young elephants over in different parts of like Bangladesh, Myanmar, Thailand. So this is quite remarkable, but this is also a carnivore. Let's see. So Phytosaurs are thought to be dominant aquatic predators because of their large size and similarity to modern crocodilians, but we were able to provide the first direct evidence they targeted both aquatic and large terrestrial prey. Is that a bit redundant? I mean, it's kind of saying the same thing. Anyway, let's take a look at somebody else. And yes, the phytosaurs were one of the top apex predators. This individual, however, is a species of um, Rausuchid. Well, no, not specifically a Rausuchid. It's a Suchian from the Triassic period, somewhere around 228 million years ago. This is Tachinosuchus. Now, I believe what he's attacking here, they're not mesosaurs. They could be a lineage of nothosaur, but these are not the later long-necked plesiosaur, such as the plesiosaurs like Plesiosaurus, Cryptoclitus of the Jurassic, as well as Elasmosaurus, Attenborosaurus over in the Cretaceous period. So
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
these,
They named something after Attenborough?
well, also that individual isn't technically a plesiosaur. It's a member of like the plesiosauromorph lineage, but it's actually a mosasaur that I was thinking of. But yes, they named one after him. There have been quite a few species of prehistoric animals, especially within the marine reptile lineage, have been named after people, but they tend to be just different species of not different species, different paleontologists. Sometimes zoologists, biologists, or some that were a blend of the two are named after the animals are named after them as well. But anyway, this is probably taking place over in Switzerland or Italy around 230 million years ago during the mid Triassic. Now, Tachinosuchus is a species of Suchian that probably didn't reach much more than 10 feet in length or around 3 meters and probably weighed somewhere around maybe 200 pounds or so. That seems like a pretty large individual. They were quite lightweight for their length. So, um, okay, here's just overlooking a cliff. It's a funny one. It almost looks like a young individual.
I just love the painting.
Yeah, it does look really well. Um, let's see. So, yes, most likely this animal is feeding on smaller species of amphibians or reptiles. It is possible because there were quite a few marine reptiles at this point, considering it's the mid Triassic, that Tachinosuchus is feeding on even different species of marine reptiles that are fully grown. So, it's very possible he might have been stalking the beaches. Now, most likely, these marine reptiles aren't coming to the beach to lay their eggs, or if anything, it's just going to put a lot of strain on their bodies and they could just simply get beached. So, which is very possible to happen, but most likely you could have it where different carcasses are pushed to shore, um, or he's maybe looking for eggs of certain reptiles, but that would really be it. I'm not sure
You talking
else.
about the one coming off of the beach?
Yeah, it's right here. He's kind of problem unless he gets a huge wave, which is possible. Anyway, let's keep going. This research will call for us to go back and look at some of the assumptions we've had in regard to the late Triassic ecosystems. The distinctions between aquatic and terrestrial distinctions were oversimplified, and I think we've made a case that the two spheres were intimately connected. I think this is how it is with anytime there is a semi-aquatic predator or any semi-aquatic predators and terrestrial predators, because many instances they're hunting each other. There are also instances where they're feeding off of the same carcass, especially when it comes to, you could have it's a single lion and then several Nile crocodiles feeding off of like a buffalo carcass, or it's the complete opposite. So let's head back to another individual. This is a member of the Phytosaur lineage. So this animal was slightly larger than the Smilasuchus. So this is the Andersoni species of Phytosaur. And this individual could reach over 17 feet in length. They're pushing around 5 meters and probably weighed around 2,200 pounds at least, or pushing over 1,000 kilograms. So this animal likely feeding on a wide range of different species of fish within the river systems of Arizona around 220 million years ago, but also feeding on most of the animals that inhabited the region. Any species of the Dicynodont could fall prey to this animal. Now, probably not full grown individuals. However, one of the largest species in the area was around the same size as this phytosaur, which is Placerius itself, which could reach some around 2,500 pounds or 1,200 kilograms. So, also when looking at the skull structure of this animal, It has a somewhat thin, narrow jaw structure, but it is still capable of going after the much larger prey items and not just sticking to a diet of fish. So it's feeding on every single species of carnivorous dinosaur within the region. They weren't very large at this point. Any species of the herbivorous dinosaurs, and pretty much most of the proto mammals and other species of reptile, even the semi aquatic reptiles within the region. Were these animals likely to go out into the ocean and feed on different species of marine reptiles or cephalopods? It's possible. You have different species of reptiles today, like American alligators. They are commonly seen off the coast of Florida, Louisiana, and North Carolina, and they're likely feeding on different species of fish, maybe young dolphins within the region, younger sharks, and then other regions you have saltwater crocodiles. Nile crocodiles have been seen on the coast of Africa as well, so they're likely feeding on different species of fish and maybe even small mammals that have been adrift. So, let me know what your favorite species of Triassic reptile is. And from prehistoric to present, my name is Ethan. This is Creature Guy Live Daily News. Remember to like, comment, subscribe if you love talking about animals, and share this show with everyone you know, because nothing is better than all animals all the time.